In my state, we have a congressperson who wrote a letter to the president saying taking away in renewable energy is nuts because we're growing jobs in our state in solar and wind and advanced battery technology. And so he wrote a letter to the leadership and the president saying, let's not do that. But he's going to go and just kiss the ring of Donald Trump and sell his constituents down the river and force them to pay more for electricity and lose jobs by the thousands because he's in slavish devotion to the guy in the White House. I think that's really unfortunate. Can't wait till November 2026 when we'll have more balance and people who have the courage to stand up against this phobia.
All right, let's turn to what's happening here where I'm sitting right now in New York City, the Democratic mayoral primary, where the self-described Democratic socialist, Zohran Mamdani, won in an upset against a largely backed former New York Governor Andrew Cuomo. And President Trump was commenting on the race with a warning from Mamdani. Listen.
He's a communist. I think it's very bad for New York. I don't know that he's going to get in. It's inconceivable that but he's a communist, and he's a pure communist. If he does get in, I'm going to be president, and he's going to have to do the right thing.
Your party's mixed on their support for Mamdani. Where do you fall in terms of whether he represents the future of your party that's looking for a leader, that's looking for a message, that's looking for a rudder?
Well, listen, I'm not a pundit. I'm only a 3-term governor and 7-term congressman. I'm only a mere mortal. I'll just tell you, I don't think there's as much to take from that race as a lot of the pundits are talking about. There were some individual characteristics of the fella he ran against that was very distasteful to many people in New York. And I don't think there's a lot to be taken from this, except you had an energetic person with a new approach. I do think that his emphasis in getting housing, particularly for younger people cannot afford housing right now. And I think the rocket fuel he had was a way to really concentrate and trying to get housing for young people in a variety of ways. And that was very motivating to get young people to come out and vote. I think that, frankly, is a healthy thing. There's a lot of things we need to do to increasing housing stock. We need to change our zoning laws. We have to change some of our way we finance these. And we need to help young people. So I think that was actually a healthy thing to enter into this debate. So I'm looking forward to that debate.
All right. Yeah. Well, Governor Inslee, you know, I live in North Carolina. I just commute to New York on the weekend for this job. And all this national news coverage that we've been getting on this New York City race, I just felt like, who really cares about this? You know, except for the people who are sitting in New York City studios. But now with these results, and then I think about all the energy that's behind Congresswoman Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez and Senator Bernie Sanders and this Fight the Oligarchs tour, and just all the political violence even that we've seen toward somebody like an Elon Musk for throwing so much money into politics. Do you not think that we can read a little bit more that it's not just here in New York City that people are energized by this message?
Well, listen, this is a generational issue. You know, my dad was a teacher. He could afford a decent house in Seattle. I worked a little harder to do that. And our kids are now basically almost impossible to afford housing in King County in Seattle area if you're a teacher, a firefighter, a police officer. And this is a generational issue where the younger generation's behind us. Look, my generation's doing okay. We got equity in our homes, many of whom who own homes and the like. But our kids and grandkids are really struggling in this new economy. And I think that people who can offer new ideas about how to address that are going to excite young voters. They're going to bring more voters to the polls, and we will get some new, fresh approaches. I think the generational aspect of our economy has been under-discussed when it comes to tax policy, when it comes to zoning policy, when it comes to environmental policy. I'm all for the younger generation getting engaged. We owe it to them.
Well, and Mamdani was reaching them. He was talking to them on the platforms where they are on Instagram and TikTok and things. And look where he's sitting today, sitting pretty. All right, former Washington Governor Jay Inslee, thank you so much for your insight and analysis today. A mere mortal. I don't know about that with all those races you've won. Appreciate your time.
Be well. Stay cool.
Thank you for watching. Subscribe below and download our NewsNation app right now on your phone, and you will get fact-based, unbiased news for all Americans.